This is either going to go really well or it's going to be a dumpster fire. But either way, I've hit record, so there's no going back now.
Listen up, Vegas. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Slaughterhouse. I'm your host, Hazel Phoenix, and with me today is the excellent of execution Ken Poe from Toy Kennections, the $1 Million Merc Steven Seagal from GI Joburg, and our very special guest, young rock Sergeant Slaughter, the Maniac, Wayne Mattei.
Yay!
At ease disease.
Here's our guest of honor, Wayne.
Amazing. Hello, Wayne. I'm Steve.
Hi, Wayne.
Hello. Hello,
Hi,
guys.
Ken.
All good?
Still rocking the Sarge moustache.
Mate, I got 2 weeks left that I have to
Love it.
maintain for filming, so...
Well, I've worked out since you saw me last, Wayne, and I'm wearing, I don't know if you can tell, but I've got sort of a six-pack going on now.
That's impressive in
I bet
those
it's only been
several
one
hours.
day, but yeah, several hours, yeah. Fake it till you make it, I suppose.
Yeah, mate, very proud of you.
So, Wayne, we've got Ken from Toy Kennections, huge wrestling fan. And we got GI Joburg Steve, who is he's our actor amongst actors.
No.
So he just
I would
did,
say, no, let's just stick with G.I. Joe guy.
Well, he's a GI Joe guy that was also recently did Priscilla, local showing, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, to which I horribly mentioned, "Oh, are you playing Priscilla?" He goes, "That's the bus." Wayne is obviously Sergeant Slaughter from Young Rock, but amongst other things, he is the bodyguard to the stars. Actually, I should probably do an official intro. I want to play it kind of loose and casual. I don't want to get too professional with it. That's not my style. I'm pretty easygoing. But I'll do an appropriate intro, and then I'll cut it in later with some cool footage and some explosions and stuff, or at least some party poppers. We'll see how we go.
I'm better than the best.
I've got to have. There we go.
There we go. There we go.
One of us has to rock the shades. It might as well be
Well,
me.
between the shades and the mustache, we've got some of this covered here. That's why I got this. I was trying to measure the mustache to Wayne, and I was like, oh, but I don't have any sunglasses to check it with, and we don't have a hat and all that. So,
between the four of us, we've got all four stages of facial hair cranking.
We very much do.
Rock what you've got. I've been eyeing off that Sergeant Slaughter you're holding up there, Ken. It's one of my grail pieces. I don't think I'll ever hold one in my hands, but it's epic to see that you have one. So, Wayne, I don't know if you've ever seen that action figure before, but it's I'll let actually Ken explain what it is. Seeing as how
yeah. Sure. And actually, Wayne, I didn't actually realize you were also in Pirates of the Caribbean in 2017 as well. I was
That's
actually
right.
looking that up before we jumped on here, and I was like, oh, that's actually really interesting. So good to know.
Yeah,
As for the
I was privileged enough to be killed by the Kraken.
Nice. I've felt
That's
like
okay.
that after a bottle of Kraken.
It's all good. So this is the LJN style Sergeant Slaughter, which is the 8-inch one that fits with the rubberized line that many of us grew up with. But
Yeah.
when Sarge had left WWE, for GI Joe, Hasbro went and commissioned this as a mail away. But it's scaled with the LJN figure, so they always call it LJN Sarge when it's really Hasbro mail away Sarge, and it's made of a slightly different material. So it's more like plasticky, like you can't really bend it. Whereas like the rubber wrestlers, you can bend them. So that's why it exists. But I knew you were coming on, and I knew Zazel's a big fan of Sarge, and I know Steve has a GI Joe dedicated channel. So I'm like, what do I grab for props here? So other than this freaking scarf, because it's winter here almost winter. It's like late fall here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit cold where I'm sitting. So. Yeah,
it's a great prop. I remember the is it LJN? You said the characters. I used to have those when I was a kid growing up. I had many of them, and I wish to this day. There you go. I would have kept some of them in their box instead. I went on a collecting spree a while ago, years ago, to try and get some of them still in the package, and trying to find Rick Rude, Macho Man, and all those in the packages and so on. They're so expensive and worth so much.
It's ridiculous now how expensive they are. So, yeah. Anyway,
especially if you get them with good paint apps still on them. Being made of rubber, they also tend to be a little bit ratty on those protruding areas. Sergeant Slaughter's hat, campaign cover, almost. His is often known to have the brim missing from the figure. So, good job on getting a really decent one there, Ken.
No, the back has a little bit of a ding, but you can't see it that much. Like you can
that's
just
just a war wound. Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
all
it's
right.
a war wound, right?
So, bodyguard to the stars. Now I noticed that one of those people that you had been a bodyguard to was Steven Seagal. I reckon if you spoke to Steven Seagal, he'd reckon he wouldn't need a bodyguard, would he?
You'd be surprised. These people don't like to be the bad guy somewhat. They like to be the tough guy, but they don't like to be the bad guy. So if there's a fan wanting an autograph or a picture, even though they don't want to do it, they want somebody else to take the heat for it. And that's me. So, but having said that, when he did arrive in Sydney, the first thing he said to me is, "What are you carrying?" And I said, "I'm not carrying anything." And he said, "Well, how are you supposed to protect me? What do you do if someone shoots at me?" And I said, "I get in the way." He liked that. He nodded. He shook my hand, and we're best friends after that.
Perfect. So what's he like? You hear so many different stories about Steven Seagal.
He's intense, absolutely intense. He's exactly the same as he is on camera. He talks exactly the same. When he tells a story, it's exactly the same when he's telling a story on the show. He has great CIA stories. He's got, conspiracy theories, all sorts of stuff like that. The man is, the perfect word for him is intense.
So I went to the wrestling event last night. It was a local event. I say local, but it was actually an hour out, a little bit over an hour out. Venom Pro Wrestling. My son and I looked across the ring and we noticed in the crowd were pretty much a full cast of Young Rock there watching the entertainment. That was pretty cool.
Absolutely, yes. They were all invited to come down and watch the show. They all wanted to see basically what we, as myself and Chavo, did for real, because obviously they're actors learning to do and be the way that we are. So for them to see us in our natural habitat, let's call it, they loved it. They thought it was amazing. And then, of course, they're actors. To be a part of the show by being brought in the ring, they're just big hams, so they loved it.
So you're currently filming season 2 of Young Rock?
Season 2, that's right. We're currently in the middle of it now. I've got 2 more weeks left of filming before I go home. They might wrap for Christmas, I believe, and then possibly come back in the new year. I'm not too sure.
So have you got any, you probably can't tell us too much about season 2, but have you got any interesting stories to tell us from your experience of season 1?
Season 1, yeah. Look, there was a couple of stories in there. One, the day we were doing the rehearsal for the Battle Royal, we had a lot of extras that we needed to be in the shot. And when we were practicing it, I had to do a low kick to a wrestler in the stomach. And then we were going to slingshot him off the ropes. And me and the Sheik were going to clothesline him over the top rope and get him out. So as I've thrown the kick, my shoe has got caught in the kid's T-shirt because he's a big boy. So he's got a big baggy T-shirt. And lo and behold, it tore my hamstring.
Oh, no.
So
Oh,
3 days before filming, I've got a grade 1 tear in my right hamstring where I can't walk, I can't stand on it, I can't do anything. And production are just losing their mind thinking, oh my God, we don't know what we're going to do. So we were lucky that where we were staying in Brisbane, across the road, there was a gym, but there was a cryotherapy treatment facility there as well. I don't know if you've heard of them. But basically you get put into this big fridge thing. And they put me in there at minus 140 degrees for 4 minutes. And I did that over 3 days to try and assist with the repairing of the hamstring. And then the day of the shoot, I had a physio come in and completely strap my hamstring up. I had some medication and so on, and then got in the ring. And as soon as the bell went, I didn't feel any pain at all. It was just on. So we got it done. We filmed it. And then when they yelled cut, I needed that golf buggy that was waiting for me at the edge of the ring to drive me back to my trailer. I'll tell you that much.
I watched that battle royal obviously on TV when I watched the season, right? And you wouldn't have known. So it was like, however it was edited, it came out fine, right? Yeah. I was just more like, hey, cool, it's Slaughter. Hey, cool, it's the Sheik. Hey, he's double crossing Rocky Johnson. What's going on here? So, Zezo, I don't know if you had something else you wanted to say, but I wanted to say that the thing I really liked about Young Rock, and that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to grab my Rocky Johnson out of there. That's what I was going to do, my Rocky Johnson figure, because that made me a bigger fan of Rocky Johnson. Because for me growing up, right, my only memory of Rocky Johnson was when he would help out, like when The Rock was still Rocky Maivia in the 90s. And Rocky Johnson would sometimes, like, if Dwayne was getting beat up in the middle of the ring, Rocky would come out after. Rocky Johnson would come out to help him. That happened maybe twice, and then we never saw Rocky Johnson again. I did not get to see when he tagged with Tony Atlas beforehand, because that was very early. I mostly know Tony Atlas when he did the Saba Simba gimmick. Obviously, he was on Dark Side of the Ring with the Bruiser Brody story. But so this gave me a huge appreciation for the Rocky Johnson character / wrestler and all that, because I did not get that much exposure to him growing up.
It's good that you get a little bit of insight into some of the other characters that you might not know about. The insight into seeing the family dynamic, that the Johnsons were such good friends with Cosgrove, the Iron Sheik, and Andre.
I think Andre the Giant and the Iron Sheik
a real deep wrestling fan, you wouldn't have known.
Oh, and I didn't know that. Is it Ata Maivia? I think was her name. I didn't know she was such a strong business person. So I mean, assuming that part's factual on the show, I just kind of assumed it is.
I would assume so too. She seems like a very strong woman that needed to be strong after the passing of Peter Maivia. Somebody had to take over, and it was her role. So
absolutely. So anyway, that was just really interesting to see. So I loved season 1 genuinely. Right, I'm not just saying that because you guys are all here, but genuinely, I was like, oh, when's season 2? And is he really going to run for president in 2032? Can he do it in 2024?
Have to wait to see.
Oh, and there was a guy that went past. I was like, oh, he looks like Greg the Hammer Valentine. My son didn't know who that was. And then later on, he jumps up on stage and they announce him as the actor playing the Hammer. So I was like, well, he's nailed it. He's nailed it.
Yeah. I think he was short Renegade. Renegade is his wrestling name.
Renegade. Well, there you go. How appropriate.
He's a good kid.
They do a really good job capturing all those, the cast that was around at the time. Like I look at Macho Man, he's Macho Man. I look at Andre, he's got that imposing, structure to him, right? So I don't know, just that's one of the things that's watching that show again makes me feel like I'm 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
That's what I like about it.
You should try being in the ring with them. That then makes you feel like you're 8 years old or even younger. I mean, I'm 48, close to 48, so it takes me back to being a kid. But I will tell you this, I can't tell you much, but I will tell you this. In season 2, get ready, because there is a ton of people that you will recognize.
Nice.
Yes.
Not
The
going to
golden
say who.
era of wrestling. Nice. But you never hear a bad story about Andre. You hear funny stories and you hear a few disgusting stories, but you never hear a bad one. And I think they really captured that. But much more so his softer side too, which was a big one for me. I think what I took away from those scenes with Andre. And he's a big guy in real life. When I saw him on the stage.
Yeah, Matt Willig, his name is. He's a very nice man, ex-NFL player, huge man, massive man.
Wow.
He come over and had a beautiful photo with my son last night in the crowd. My son has a smile from ear to ear that hasn't left his face. He's actually changed one of his profile pictures on something that he has online to the picture of him and Matt. So I told Matt that today.
That's amazing.
That was fantastic. So yeah.
That's a great story.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm very late to the game as far as wrestling was concerned. I was a huge GI Joe fan and Sergeant Slaughter fan, obviously. But I didn't know too much. Being an Australian youngin spend a lot of my time in the Northern Territory. You don't get a lot of this stuff, and so it wasn't until GI Joe the movie came out, the animated movie came out, and it said Sergeant Slaughter as Sergeant Slaughter. I was like, that is so weird. So why I'm with my friend Josh, and I was like, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just say who it is? And he goes, that's a real guy. I said, what do you mean that's a real guy? And he goes, that's a real guy. So he takes the VHS out and puts in a home recording sort of VHS of all these different eras of wrestling up until that point. And out comes Sergeant Slaughter as a wrestler. Is still a face at that point. He did show me some heel stuff later on. Well, I mean, he's technically started off as quite the heel. But I was looking at that, and there he was, the real American hero in the flesh, as it were. And so it sort of cemented my love for the Sarge after that as well. Whether he's a face or a heel, and I say this all the time, whether he's a face or a heel, he knows how to work a crowd. And if he's going to do it, he's going to do it properly. He's going to commit to it, and he's going to keep working it until he doesn't have to anymore. And I think he was very relieved when he got his country back. That's for sure.
He was
huge back then.
Yeah, I mean, on the true story of WrestleMania DVD set there, he said that somebody actually threatened to blow up the WWF offices, and they actually asked Sergeant Slaughter's wife to stay. Is there somewhere else you can stay for a little while? And then there was all the speculation that they were going to do WrestleMania 7 at, I think, at a larger stadium, and then they moved it into like the LA Sports Coliseum after because they were worried about security.
Right.
That was the official reason. Some people think they didn't sell enough tickets because it was kind of hard to follow Hogan versus Warrior the year before, right? So,
but I noticed on the Young Rock, Wayne, that your Sergeant Slaughter outfit has long sleeves, and I wonder if that is so that the makeup department doesn't have to keep covering up your excessive amounts of tattoos that you have.
It is. It takes quite a while. I've got the top of my left hand is fully tattooed, and both my arms are completely sleeved up to my shoulders. So even just to cover my hand, just past my wrists, to cover my other hand, just past my wrists, and then on both sides of my neck as well, I have tattoos here as well. That takes about 2.5 hours in itself. You might remember in season 1 when we had the meeting for the Battle Royal, we were in the apartment and we're all standing around and so, well, I had a t-shirt on then, a short sleeve t-shirt, and it took them hours to cover my arms just for that scene. So they made the choice of, well, actually there was a costume made which had from the bicep down to the wrist skin color material, and then they were going to cover my hand or whatnot with makeup, and it didn't really look the best. So I guess they took the option of the long camo down to my wrists, which makes it easier for them because, as you can imagine, being inside of a wrestling ring as it is, in a wrestling costume that is so thick like Sarge wears, it is so intensely hot. But then on top of that, you've got to put movie studio lights and so on, plus the wrestling lights as well. Plus you're doing these takes over and over and over again. So I'm not in there doing a 20-minute match, which is like bang, 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 and then we're done. This is going to take hours because we're going to do different camera shots and all sorts of stuff like that. So that definitely was to save from having the makeup done on my arms. But having said that, though, makeup was all over me every 5 minutes when we cut because I was just sweating my ass off as well.
Well, I mean, I was just looking at that scene today, actually, and they did such a great job with the makeup that you couldn't tell that you had any tattoos or anything under there, which obviously is a job to do, but they did a fantastic job anyhow. And such a funny scene too. It's a quick scene, but it's really funny. One of my favorite scenes, in fact, where they mention Randy Savage, and you're taking notes.
Randy is?
Yeah, he wanted me to tell you he couldn't make it. Something about his girlfriend Deborah's birthday. But don't worry, I've been taking notes for him.
But it's such a great scene. So
that whole episode, even the double cross. Yeah.
Did you draw all those?
No, the props department did that for me. So in my audition, that was part of the scene that I had to audition for. So you get small cuts of what you need to do. So they gave me that, and they said you have to turn around a notepad and show some doodles and whatnot that you've been drawing on there. So I've actually drawn a ring, and I've done a stick figure with Macho Man doing the elbow drop off the top rope. Nice. And so I've got to the point where I've said, don't worry, I've been taking notes for him. And I've spun it around to show them. And as I've done it, I've gone, as you can see, there's the ring. There's Macho. He's about to do the elbow drop. Oh, yeah! And then just pulled the pad down on the desk in just absolute disgust. So I don't know if that helped me get the role, my little bit of Macho, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, yeah, they had a pretty good Macho Man on there, but I guess you could have been a good backup for that. The Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship, Ken is coming on as the Hitman, Excellence of Execution. Yes. That's the start of it. I've got some working to do on him. That's all right. I've got some pink on. I'm
all over it. I love the shades. I love the shades and everything on there.
Yeah. Right. Steven here is the $1 Million Merc, based on Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Man. He does a great laugh. Wayne was very kind enough to do a promo as Kano the Warlord.
Let me educate you. I'm Kano. I'm the bloody warlord. When you meet the warlord, you meet your maker. Now piss off.
So I've merged Kano and the warlord together to make this character, which will be coming out.
That's actually clever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was watching old because I've got the Bulldog versus Kano.
Yeah.
And I was watching some old episodes, and there was a mini rivalry between the British Bulldog and the Warlord.
Yeah.
And the Warlord.
The battle of the power slams. It was because they both had the same finisher.
Yes.
So they wanted to see who could do the better finisher. Sorry, I'm a little bit of an obsessive wrestling nerd. I don't know much else in life, but I know wrestling. So send me over to the kitchen there and be like, go fry an egg, and I'll be like, let me go watch some wrestling. Someone else fry the eggs. Right.
I call it a custom, but really it's just a part swap. But he's got the long sleeves, so that's pretty close to yours, Wayne. If only I put I'll change the torso and put those sleeves on. It'll be very close to how you portray.
That's is that the Action Marine torso?
Yes, it is.
I see. Because that's the one you use as the commentator on your Slaughterhouse Wrestling Challenge, I think.
Correct. That is true. Thank you for noticing.
The man's all over it. Look at him.
Yeah.
Well, I had to show up with something. I got the guy who innovated the flag display, the guy who was Young Rock, the host of the channel. All I have is a stupid scarf because of the weather, right? So,
I don't know. You're rocking it. The only person to wear a scarf better than you was Doctor Who.
I like that. I like that. Well, there's also MJF in AEW. I think he might rock the scarf a little better.
True. Okay, he's definitely wearing one at least.
I'm trying to get Zazel more and more into AEW. So,
yeah, he keeps sending me links to it. And
the CM Punk promo or return.
Yes, that's a great promo. Great.
Or seeing the crowd just sing Chris Jericho's entrance music with no music whatsoever. It's incredible.
Yes. And the crowd singing his song because it was the stipulation was no Judas effect finisher and no Judas song or something like that. Yeah, I've watched that clip a few times.
A conversation that me and Steve once had over a beer was having a love for finding action figures that have been well played with or well loved.
Well, I guess I'm not interested in museum pieces because I would never have a display like yours, Ken. It's very pretty. It looks like you've got some original 13 Joes in a case there, or like sort of the early 80s guys, the later 80s beneath that. You've got the X-Men class of 92 kind of Jim Lee animated series guys.
Yep.
Welcome back, those team.
Fantastically curated collection. I guess mine is more geared towards just being able to pick them up and mess with them. So I don't keep them in beautiful cases. And to that point, I would sooner take a toy that's played with, sort of in slightly roughed up condition, because it's more inviting. My favorite toys, and the ones that will never be kind of usurped in my collection, are not the beautiful, pristinely painted and tight jointed specimens that I buy on eBay, but rather my yellowed, crusty old collection. This is my favorite
Shockwave
figure. It kind of follows me everywhere. Shockwave, he is as battered as they come. His joints are all loose, but he's my guy. So, as I say, nothing will
You've
ever
got the backpack. You've got the weapons.
Well, funny you should mention that. I mean, the backpack was the only accessory that I had from my childhood one. The knife, the pistol, the submachine gun have all been bought after the fact, after I lost them to the sands of time. But the figure and the backpack are still, the very same one that I played with as a wee lad. And there's some magic in that, which you just can't recapture, even if you buy a mint specimen now. I guess the long story short is I like to buy knackered old playthings because they just feel like they've lived a life, and I want to tap into that. That speaks to my nostalgia itch a lot more than like something that I'm so scared to manipulate because it needs to stay in mint condition,
Yeah.
So that's my philosophy, and I know Zazel, as a result, you are all too happy to buy toys that have missing paint apps, or a child has kind of sharpied their initials under their boots, like Toy Story.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me.
So the next episode,
with over 300 Sarges, I think you probably got some very mint condition ones nestled away in that number. They can kind of stay behind the glass, and you've got enough to create enough army to do battle with.
Note for Zazel, I'm still looking for a Fun School Super Cop. Just letting you know, putting it out there.
Oh, I've only got 4 in my collection, Ken. I don't.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Super Cop.
That's the best line of the week. I've only got 4 in my collection. I'm still.
I can't spare any.
I get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it.
I didn't pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for them. I don't know if I am that sick that I would yet. We'll see.
Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are.
This here, which is the LJN inspired one, I've got 2. This is the black card variant. Oh, Steve was actually, I want to thank you proper, Steve. These were sent to an old address because I moved, and the Mattel didn't listen to my email when I said I was moving well in advance. Steve went to pick them up and forward them on to me. So thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool. You've got the black card one. This is it out of the box.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Did you get the blue card?
I got the blue carded one. I was trying to create a login while this was all going on, so they sold out. And then a friend of mine who lives an hour away was like, "Oh, I got a second one. Just take that one. We'll make a trade."
Oh, cool.
That was about a month ago. So I was like, "Wow!" I'm like, you could flip this on the secondary market. And he's like, "Yes, I know, but you'll also owe me
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's where the real value is. Like, you'll owe me in the future. I know what's those display cases behind you, Ken. And I'm like, and you've also got a bad memory, so you're gonna forget, right? So that was.
On that topic right there, there's a good point. Maybe there should be a Maniac action figure.
Well, weren't you telling me that there was? Didn't you say you owned one? Is that a custom piece?
Somebody custom one in the US many years ago of me, and it's a great job for what they did, but it's very, very average. But still, they put the effort in to make it look like me, so I'm very thankful. I have it still packaged
Nice.
in my office next to my Sergeant Slaughter Funko Pop that somebody bought me when I got the role.
Right. The only Funko Pop I own.
It's the only one I have as well. My son has quite a few, but that's the only one I have. But yeah, they did a pretty decent job. They just put bits and pieces of different people together and did a bit of touch-up paint. Like when they attempted my tattoos, it was just a bit of black scrawly stuff on the forearm, So, but again, the effort was there, and I appreciated it, and I've still got it to this day in my shelf in the packet there. But you know what? Anyone else wants to give it a crack, I'll be happy.
I'll put together an appropriate action figure for you. The closest thing I've got right now is that. That's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I'm rocking the Sarge look right now for another 2 weeks. So, I mean, in one of his interviews, as you remember, he said that he was very happy with the way I portrayed him. But he did have this thing where I had all these lumps and bumps over me, which was stuff that he didn't have. And he goes, his arms like this big and stuff. And he's like, I don't have that either.
Yeah.
Well, you've got it now, Sarge. So it's there.
Oh, yeah, he's a big fan. Always speaks highly of you, Wayne, whenever he has an opportunity to. I showed him a photo of both of us. Great photo. But, he said we were two of his favorite maggots. And what
I saw that.
You got to, what's a higher honor than that? Surely not. And it used to be maggot was an insult, but I love being one of Sorter's maggots. I'll take it.
I'd take maggot, puke, anything.
Slime, whatever. Yeah. Does your son want to get into wrestling, Wayne, or no?
Well, I've got two. I've got an 18-year-old at the moment, and if you can believe it, my 18-year-old is taller than me.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, he's into shooting, competition shooting, like clay pigeon shootings, and he's been 3-time club champion, so he's doing extremely well with that. So we'd like him to focus on that for the time being. But whatever interest he takes up and he wants to follow, we'll be happy with. My youngest is 10. I'm not sure what way he's going. He loves beating the crap out of me now. So it's a good sign that it could be a bit of a wrestler in there. I don't know. But he loves acting too. So we've joined him up with my agent so that we can start to get him in front of the camera and see how he goes as well.
My youngest is 8 months.
8 months.
And he's probably wrestling his mother right now. So, gents, I think I'm going to be the first to dash. Zays, thank you, my friend, for having me. Ken, Wayne, lovely to meet you, gents.
Same here. Thank you so much.
All right. Adios, guys. Have a good Sunday or Saturday night,
too, buddy.
Ken.
We'll connect soon. We'll definitely connect soon.
On Toy Kennections. I like it. Put the brand out there.
I brought a Renegade Mercer just for you.
Amazing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great, guys. All right.
I knew you were coming on,
Joe,
so I needed to tell you that.
Channel.
Joe. You know what? I mean, my channel just started 6-7 months ago, right? So I figured tonight I wanted to, get acquainted with some of these guys because obviously I've seen Wayne on Young Rock, right? Like, that was just a coincidence, right? Like, it just so happened that I watched that show earlier this year and really enjoyed it, right? And also, Steve, there you've gotten me refamiliarized with his channel there. With the GI Joburg. But yeah, that's for my channel. So back in April of this year, I started it, and I thought, well, the name's Ken. Why don't I call it Toy Kennections? And people thought it was kind of a clever name. I thought it was cheesy, but everyone else thought it was clever. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So basically what I just do is I just talk like histories and like groupings of anything from Transformers to GI Joe to wrestling. And at the time, I had promised myself for many years I was going to get WWE Network. And then when the pandemic hit, we got sent home from work, so we were mostly working from home, and we still are for the next few weeks or to a month or so. The very next day, I got WWE Network. So I was like, I get sent home. What's the first thing I do is I connect to WWE Network. And so, of course, my wrestling collection started to blow up a little bit, right? And when that happened, I wanted to start a YouTube channel. and I wanted to talk mostly wrestling because I've been collecting Transformers and GI Joe for much longer, so I wasn't as inclined to talk about it. Well, people were liking my Transformers and GI Joe content more. Like the viewership was more there, but all I wanted to do was talk about the Heart Foundation, DX, the NWO, and it was always all. That's why you're wondering why is it all on the tip of my tongue, because I wanted to do all that. But then everyone was like, "Oh, make more Transformer stuff," and I'm like, well, "Okay, I will. I like it, but I filed it away in that corner of my brain right now. But then it's what's helping the channel grow. But I know the wrestling audience will hopefully." Praying right now that they come. Obviously Zazel watches for the wrestling stuff. Don't get me wrong, right? Like I don't have the wrestler stature, but I'm such a wrestling nerd.
Well, you're definitely bringing it with your enthusiasm if you don't have it in your stature.
Well, okay, I have the announcer stature, so maybe I could be Michael Cole or Tony Schiavone or someone like that. There you go. That's more my league, Mike Tenay. Right.
I reckon you could pull off Bobby Heenan pretty good too.
Oh yeah. Heenan. For sure. One of the icons.
One of the best.
Oh, yeah. Managers.
I had an appreciation for the Fink, looking back at some of his stuff. Just the way he announces just sounds classic wrestling. The way he was able to project his voice in that style. I don't know the correct terminology for it, but watching the Fink announce anything just adds to it. And then you've got
Mean Gene.
Mean Gene. Yes, you got to have Mean Gene as well.
Yeah. Well, if you can imagine having Howard Finkel do the announcing in the ring, they cross down to the announce table. You have Gorilla Monsoon, Jesse the Body Ventura, or even Lord Alfred Hayes there with his English accent. They were iconic voices that you would remember from the 80s. Then once they'd had their match, they go backstage. Mean Gene Oakland then cuts to them for their after-match promo. Those voices are just classic voices that will never be emulated again, ever.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the era that it was because it was such an innocent time in wrestling. I know backstage, obviously, it was not, how they got the muscles for those guys was not obviously very innocent, or at least from what I've heard. Oh, no. Today is different. Hey, I don't know firsthand. But
I think Wayne might have the ability to go through the screen and grab you, mate. If anyone can, it's Wayne.
I'll just sacrifice the scarf. Just throw it and bolt for the taxi cab outside. So anyway, I mean, it was just an innocent time to be a wrestling fan, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, because back then too, everyone thought it was still real.
Yep.
Yeah, and
there was no perception of entertainment whatsoever. It was real, and if you hated someone, you hated them.
The heat was real, right?
The heat was definitely real.
Absolutely, right. It's not like today everyone's a critic, right? So you're trying to appease, all the critics online, right? So it feels different, right? Like everything's so analytical now, Whereas back then it felt like you're just kind of mesmerized by the screen. I loved it, right? Yeah, exactly like you said.
Too, it was clear cut, babyface, heel. That was it. Even though I love Stone Cold, and Stone Cold is the absolute tweener in between. He was the bad guy and the good guy, and I loved him. In the 80s, it was good guy, bad guy, nothing in between.
Yeah,
absolutely.
WWF at the time did run a comic book series for a while. The Undertaker, Mankind, The Ultimate Warrior, Stone Cold had quite a collection. I think they had China. The Rock had some as well, I believe. I had a massive collection of them at one stage, and then ended up selling the comic book collection that I had. I had some number ones and very rare ones, but the Undertaker ones were my favorites at the time.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Undertaker. I've yet to catch his Netflix special, but
really, you have to watch it.
It's like a choose your own adventure thing, isn't it?
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
the one with the New Day.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Is there another one that I'm missing as well?
I was thinking
when he retired was probably the only other relevant. Yeah. Well, not relevant. Sorry, the latest thing that he's done, with the exception of the Choose Your Own Adventure one, and even then, that documentary is incredible. It was called The Last Ride.
The Last Ride. It was a 5-parter. They featured Kane very heavily in it. There's a whole episode dedicated to Paul Bearer.
Okay.
It really encapsulates, because the thing about The Undertaker, like Wayne talks about the time when you loved or hated somebody. In 1990, you legit were scared of The Undertaker, right? So to know that in 2020, 21, you could sit there and watch Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, just sit there and talk like a regular human being, right? And Wayne mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin because he's had Undertaker on his guest in the Stone Cold Broken Skull session as well, and he's just talking like a regular guy. He's not doing the whole rest in peace gimmick, and we never thought in 1990 we could get this in the era we live in today, right?
Yeah.
That's what's amazing about it, right?
Two guys from Texas having a beer talking shit. That's all it was.
Absolutely.
The thing about Stone Cold is that Stone Cold is Stone Cold, whether it's in the ring or not.
24/7.
Yeah.
When he's hosting that Broken Skull session, though, yeah, he's got the accent and everything. He's using a lot of the same words, but his cadence is completely different, right? He's very light and very hosty. You don't think in that talk show he's going to stutter anybody, but yes, he still sounds the same. Like his voice still sounds the same, right?
Depends on how much liquor and beer gets into him. I remember
still
watching
reckon he'd have it in.
Chris Jericho when they were doing the show, and Jericho is continuously pouring the Grey Goose, and the bottle's going down further.
Yes,
further.
Yes, yeah, that was a good episode too. Yeah.
I'll check it out. It sounds like a good watch.
It's all on the network, all on WWE Network.
There you go.
Cool.
$9.99.
I'll add it to the list of recommendations that Ken you've given me already.
Yeah, I do
it's
that.
Not getting homework, but homework you want to do, you know. It's called research, right? Gotcha.
That's it. I love the fact that everyone is so pleased with my portrayal of Sarge. I'm so grateful that Sarge himself is pleased with the way that I've portrayed him, right through to his daughter Kelly, right through to their granddaughter, Sarge's granddaughter. The quick story, I came on screen, Kelly was standing there with her daughter. She pointed up to the screen and she goes, "Who's that?" And Sarge's granddaughter beautifully went, "That's Grandpa."
Nice.
So that makes me
That's
feel
a
like
great heartwarming story.
Yeah,
very much so.
Definitely.
Well,
and such amazing emails I get from Sarge now, and when we chat and so on like that, it's really good. And the interaction that you have, Zozo, with yourself with him, and the constant chitter chatter between basically all three of us is amazing.
I think whilst we initially made our connection through Sergeant Slaughter, and as much as I'm a fan of your portrayal of Sergeant Slaughter and Young Rock, I'm fast becoming a Maniac fan, and I've started going through YouTube. I'm almost certain it's your YouTube channel because it's called The Maniac. And I'm going back through some of your older stuff. I saw one there where you were trying to throw some white goods.
Yeah, I was invited onto Guinness World Records, the TV show, and it was the appliance toss
Wow.
to see if I could throw as many washing machines as I could in a 1 minute span over a 2-metered space. And I think I got 16. The record is 24, but apparently some of the ones that I did throw in that encompassing of 16 were hitting the 2-meter line exactly, so they couldn't count them anyway. So, but it was good fun.
It looked like you were having a blast with it. Even if you couldn't throw them all, you definitely gave them all a good kick in the end. The ones
I cracked the shit's bad at the end.
Oh, Ken, I'll share that one to you too, buddy. That's a great one.
I'd love to see it, right? I didn't know he'd done that, but
I couldn't tell if you were in full gimmick there or if you were legitimately pissed off.
I think the pissed off outweighed the gimmick in that one because it was like 42 degrees in Fox Studios in Sydney. Been waiting all day to do this record, and then they get me in there, and we've discussed my sweating issue. It starts to pour off me again instantly, and then when I realized I'm just hitting the 2-meter line, I got to get it a bit further. That just irritated me more. So yeah, I got real angry. So as you can imagine, with a washing machine, they have a drum, they have a concrete base as well, so that when it spins, it levels out and it doesn't move around. Well, they shouldn't anyway. So all that is inside. So that's approximately between 40 to 55 kilos inside each washing machine. So,
well, I couldn't imagine trying to lift one of those, let alone trying to grip one with sweaty palms and then try and ditch it over 2 meters.
Yeah, but, I had a plan. I had wide receiver Under Armour gloves on that had the tacky on it, so when I gripped it, there was no problem.
Still, lifting that off the ground is quite the chore for, you know.
Yeah.
Most
Oh, I had to
people.
practice. They actually sent me 3 washing machines to my workplace for me to practice with for a few weeks prior. So in the car park at night time, I'm there with these washing machines going, "Rah!" throwing them around, trying to get the right technique.
Would you ever give it another go?
Possibly. Look, the guy that holds the world record had the option to be able to throw ovens, stoves. So
Okay.
you can imagine it's a white good. So, but inside of a stove, there's really an element, some electric stuff, and a bit of tin here and there, but nothing else. Whereas you put it to a washing machine, the washing machine has the concrete base, the drum, and all that. So the weight difference varies a bit. So if they said to me, Wayne, we want you to have another shot, but throwing ovens, just like the guy who holds the world record, then hell yeah, I reckon I'd smash it.
I might give it a go with toasters and see how I go.
you beat me to it. I was looking for an appliance over there. I might give it a try with one of those.
Yeah, and the funny bit is in the promo before the actual event where I try to do it, I come into an apartment which is depicted to be mine, and I'm angry because I put a shirt in the washing machine and it was white, but
It's
then I
pink.
pull it out and it's pink.
Yeah.
So I get really upset about it. So I go over into the kitchen and the first thing I grab is the toaster and I throw it into the lounge room and it just smashes into 100 pieces. So.
I'm from Adelaide. I'm a dual pro wrestling champion. I'm here to break the world record for the most appliances thrown in 1 minute.
And if there's one thing Wayne doesn't like doing, it's doing the washing. Wayne is out for revenge and nothing is going to stand in his way.
I'm pumped.
I found it by accident today, and I was like, this is the best thing I've seen all day. It was great. It was too good. And that one, it was from many years ago now, though, where you retired, and there was some sort of outside brawl clip that was in that, and you're just bashing someone against the wall, then you nail him with a shopping trolley.
Andrew the Shark Carter, yeah. We had
Right.
sort of a street fighting thing, and I threw him into the wall initially first, but I didn't realize that I actually did throw him into the wall, so I split him open down here completely.
Oh, wow.
And then we had the spot in the car park, and I think I'd hit him with a trolley, and then I put him in the trolley, and I'm throwing the trolley or something, and then a car comes through the car park that almost hits me and stuff. So it was pretty intensely choreographed, but it was good fun.
Yeah, it looked like a blast. So was that something that you guys filmed as a promo, or was there a crowd to watch that?
No, we actually filmed that live on the show. So, but they crossed the camera, was able to cross to the screen inside so people could see it while we were outside. We did have some fans come around the outside and watch as well, yeah.
So it definitely looked like a carry-on from whatever match was happening beforehand.
Yeah, no, definitely.
We'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Wayne, I'll keep in touch, get you on
Definitely.
board after we got this guy. I'll come up with a specific Maniac action figure. I might have to figure out how I'm going to draw all those tattoos on and not make it look like a big Sharpie smudge.
Yeah, that's the best way I can describe the original one. But you know what? Like I said, it has its merits. I loved the effort that they put into it. It was very great.
Love to see it.
Oh, when I get home, I'll take a picture of it. It's on my display shelf in my office right next to the Sarge Funko Pop.
Cool.
So I'll take a picture.
I
It's
look
very
forward
easy
to
to
seeing it.
access.
Ken, also thanks for jumping on with your wrestling knowledge. You're able to ask some exceptional questions that I would just have no idea would even be worthwhile asking. So thank you very much. If you
Whatever you need, I'm here, man. Whatever you need.
Let us know where we can find you, Ken.
All right, so Toy Kennections, spelled like on the screen there with the KE on YouTube, as well as Instagram there. I'm on Facebook just as Kenpo. And if I get lost, just ask Zazel where I am. He'll just be like, he's over, Steve was saying earlier, like he likes his toys a little bit more played with. And I was going to say there's a few things I'm more scared of than either a guy jumping through the window there and stabbing me. Between that, Wayne's Cobra Clutch, I'm trying to weigh right now. No, dropping one of these figures behind me if I open up the cabinet might scare me more than all that combined right about now.
You'd have a domino effect, yeah.
That's just it, right? Like I've knocked 6 Joes over before.
I don't want to put you through that intense trauma. We'll leave that alone.
And Wayne, your Instagram?
My Instagram is Hell's Vigilante, all one word. Wayne the Maniac Mattei on Facebook. You can find the fan page there. I have a website that's www.waynematei, spelled the same as on the screen.com.au. That has all my film, media, all that sort of stuff on there as well. So happy for anyone to shoot me a message or whatever. A follow would be great as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
Where does the Hell's Vigilante name come
That was
from?
part of my gimmick when I created the Maniac. I tried to figure out, all right, okay, I'm calling myself a maniac. Why am I a maniac? Where did I come from? And I had this thing that, like the biker, they have the devil and all that sort of stuff and so on. So I figured Hell's Vigilante is somebody that's sent from hell by Satan to do his dirty work up on earth. And that's my adaptation of a vigilante from hell. So Hell's Vigilante was the Maniac.
Nice. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. There we go.
No one's arguing with me, so it's good.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Wayne, I just want to quickly mention I'm not sitting up taller, so to make myself feel better about being so short. But there's that Sarge. All right, guys. I will leave it there. You're dismissed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment down below.